What's going on YouTube? It's Mr. I Stay Mad. We are here live for the Purpose Playbook. Man, sorry for the delay. Had a few technical difficulties. We're going to jump right into this. What a great Saturday. What a great day. You have an opportunity to get one step closer. So one step closer to what? To discovering your purpose, to life fulfillment, to doing the thing that you were placed here on earth to do. Why does that even matter, right? Because that's a great question. But this is a question I have for everybody listening. At what point in your life did you wake up and start to wonder or just to become more aware of your existence? What age was that? Like, when did that happen for you to start looking around your community and your surroundings and wondering, how did I even get here? Like, what's my whole reason and purpose for being here? When did those questions begin? Not necessarily to plague you, but to just start sitting there when you had the quiet times and the moments in your life and you just started to think about more meaningful stuff. When did that happen? And then even fast forward for some of the older crew to where you're working at these jobs and you went to college, or maybe you started a different job right out of high school, and you just start to feel that, man, I feel like I'm in a rut, or maybe not moving and progressing through life the way that I wanted to and the way that I've dreamed about. Or maybe the person that just never gave it thought. Maybe you never gave it thought that you had more significant value than what you have been able to produce. Maybe you never gave the thought of, man, do I have a specific purpose? Do I have a calling, or do I have something that I was sent here to do that's so important that if I don't do it, others are affected? Or maybe the person hearing this for the first time is saying, I've tried time and time again, and nothing seems to work. I've been chasing the bag, as people say. I've been going after, I've been grinding, I've been up, and I've been busy, and I've been working, but nothing seems to work. I'm here to tell you that you have been designed and made specifically to do some amazing things on this planet. And yes, it is not too late. If you pause for a moment right now and take a deep breath and realize you're still breathing, then you still have time. I'm going to insert different aspects of the Bible today. And before any of you start wondering and clicking off, listen, the Bible is full of principles, precepts, ideas, ways to living. It's so much more than what people have deemed it as a religious book. It's about a king, a kingdom, and his kids and his culture and the benefits and the resources. And if any of us can ever really realize what it's saying, your life does absolutely change. So how did I even get here? I got here the way that you might be still listening to this video and what you're currently going through. A frustration hit me like no other, and has not even left till this day. A frustration hit me called life. Life started lifing, and I had moments of unfulfillment and just anger. And I'm going to this job for 2 decades almost, and there was never really any fulfillment. Then I had a moment where I woke up and realized there could be more. And then I stayed with that mindset of, man, something absolutely has to happen. And some things absolutely started to happen. Ideas and different thoughts and businesses and things just kept coming to me. So we just started working them. Even in our ignorance, not knowing that we could fail and we could fall flat on our face, we tried. We continue to try, and we still try now. Now my goal now, and one of my reasons for existing, is to help every single person realize that you have absolute value and purpose. See, I truly believe that even to go after what people have sometimes as different mental attacks, depression and everything else, is if someone can realize their value, if someone can realize they have an assignment on this planet, something that they were made to do, then maybe they'll hang around. Maybe they'll put their feet in the ground and in the dirt and grit their teeth and go harder at life than they ever have before. Now a lot more strategic than just maybe bouncing our head off the wall, trying this and trying that. Maybe we'll realize that we were actually designed and sent here for more. See, there's a scripture where God says, I knew you while you were in your mother's womb. Like I formed you. I made you. And he has not forgotten why he made you. So that one aspect there is like you were sent here already known. You were sent here full of purpose, full of life, full of assignment. Another scripture says God is divinely giving you everything you need to live this godly life. Now here's the catch, with the knowledge of getting to know him, right? So let's talk about a product real quick, right? As I present this Purpose Playbook, I'm like your coach today, Mr. I Stay Mad, no different than a football coach. A football coach is on the field and sometimes in the booth to present the game and show the athlete a different aspect of viewing the game from their perspective. Might be showing them things that they may or may not have seen, or something now they can see clearer to make their game more efficient and effective, and to be that person on the field that makes the game-changing plays. That's my goal for you today. But I want to talk about a product real quick, and the manufacturer and or the inventor. So a product is invented after the idea comes. So the inventor puts it through these tests, and they do the research and the development, all this different process that has to happen. So before it even hits the shelves, it has been tested and tested and tested to make sure that it works. So now once it hits the shelves, the product manufacturer or the inventor puts out the description of what the product is supposed to do. And people buy the product because they see value in the product. And then they start using the product. But let's say they didn't read the manual. So now they start abnormally using the product or abusing it, and they never get its full function out. Let's take, for example, a cell phone. The primary function of a cell phone is to make phone calls. But let's say this person is on there only texting, still communicating though, only on social media, maybe using different apps for business and different things like that. So you're still getting use from it, but are you getting its full use? So now when something happens and you absolutely have to talk to somebody, let's say you don't even know how to use the function of making a phone call, which is its primary function, then now you might miss out on some important aspects of what you needed to do at the moment when you needed to do it. So I bring that to your forefront now because I'm thinking about you as a person. You may have been some kind of way figuring this thing out. You might have seen wild success so far, but you still have this level of emptiness inside. There's still a void that you may be trying to fill, or you may be at rock bottom, or you feel like you're on the way to rock bottom, and you feel like, man, I've been trying. It's life, it's basic stuff, right? But maybe you just haven't figured out your main function, your gift. Maybe you haven't discovered it just yet. Maybe you have an idea of what it could be, but how do you really start developing? How do you start getting yourself to where you're deployed? And that's what we're here to talk about today, to help you discover, develop, and deploy. Now, this is way too much information to cover in an hour, but what I want to do is plant some seeds to where now you can start to think, and we'll have some ways that you can even connect with us more to where you can walk through this process to get you where you need to be, to where you can wake up every single day full and filled of life, living full of meaning the way God made you to live. So no longer will you walk through this life abused or abnormally used, because now you'll understand your main feature. So let's talk about gift discovery. How does that even come about? So one of our companies, I Stay Mad, it definitely was birthed from sheer anger and frustration, right? But as I got the vision, as even when I was riding in the vehicle with my daughter, I used to teach youth ministry a lot. And she was like, Daddy, a lot of the kids say you're like the angriest Christian they know. I'm like, I'm not angry. I'm just focused. My face looks twisted and contorted because I'm thinking about something. I have something on my mind that I want to do, that I feel like I have to do. So I look angry. But yeah, I'm kind of frustrated. You know why I'm frustrated? Because I'm not doing what I feel like I'm made to do. So yeah, I stay mad, motivated, and determined. That's how this got birthed. And that's how even doing business got birthed for me, is this high level of dissatisfaction of something that was kind of working. I was good in my career. I had levels of success. It was working for me. But it wasn't necessarily providing the fulfillment that I need. See, a job takes care of your finances, but work takes care of fulfillment. So you may have a job that, okay, it's taking care of the bills, but where's the fulfillment? And if you're one of the blessed ones out there that has found the job that matches perfectly with your gift and what you're made to do, listen, I'm overly excited for you. But there's even still more for you. There's more expansion. There's more things that you can do to affect and to provide for your neighbors around. So the discovery literally comes through pain. Pain is a pathway to purpose. So most humans won't intentionally put themselves in a position that makes them uncomfortable. See, I want to talk about athletes, and we're talking about the Purpose Playbook. Let's keep it to kind of the sport mindset. So You have times where you have to go to practice, you have to lift weights, you have to watch film, you have all these different duties and aspects to perform at a high level as an athlete. And athletes and people maybe in the military are the closest humans who intentionally put themselves in an uncomfortable position to maximize growth. See, think about the process of the weight room. You go to this weight room, you go to a gym, and you cause stress on your body. That your body now has to prepare even greater to repair itself, to produce the muscles to handle the stress that you're purposely putting it through. You're causing a level of uncomfort that your body has to respond to survive. How many humans intentionally put themselves in uncomfortable situations to cause personal growth? Because most of us, when life happens, we complain. I'm saying we, because I've done it too, right? That we complain like, oh, this is hard, it sucks, what's wrong? Like we start rambling off and rolling off complaints and frustrations because now it's uncomfortable. Now it's frustrating. Now we don't even know what to do next. So we get good, mad, and pissed half the time, but it's really God's plan to push us to purpose. The level of uncomfortability. Some people live for a long time comfortably uncomfortable, and they're used to it. And they say, I'm a strong person. Are you? Or have you gotten used to just not trying to break out of the system or the mold that is meant to grow you? Like, so imagine a potter and his hand is on the clay, he's shaping and forming it, and he's pressing, he or she is pressing it down. And if that thing had feelings, it would probably squirm and try to get out of the pressure, but it's actually being shaped into something absolutely beautiful. And not only with the shaping, then now it has to be placed in a hot oven that causes heat to make it harder to sustain even what's coming next, the next environment. See, life is full of the process to put you to your purpose. So the potter has the clay and he shapes it because it's meant to be something beautiful later that still has to go through this heat, this molding, and even painting until it gets to its final stage. So what about you? See, we're still at the discovery part. We're still at the part of life causing high levels of frustration to get you to start thinking different. Because if truth be told, most humans don't make a move until they get good and mad about something. Let something frustrate you, get you good and angry. Then all of a sudden you start making moves. Even if it's the wrong one, we may not respond, but we will react. And the goal is get to where we start responding to situations instead of being reactive, because you have been given God-given abilities, and it's your absolute ability to respond with that. Hence the term responsibility that you have with your life to do great things on this planet, because there are people, not only your family, your house, including yourself is depending on you, but there are others who you haven't even met yet, and your gift, once exposed, once developed, and once presented to the world, changes their life. And that's the importance of understanding and discovering your gift. Because not only does it bring this internal fulfillment to you, it brings the world another aspect that's absolutely important for its full development. We're supposed to leave this planet better than we showed up. You should leave a stamp on it. And I do get emotional when I talk about this, because this feels like my football now. That everywhere you touch on this planet, you unintentionally leave fingerprints. Well, it's time to be intentional now. It's time that every time you touch something, you leave your stamp. But the only way to get there is to stop the squirming, stop the complaining, and face every opposition as an opportunity to get better at what you were made to do. And then you'll start discovering. Then you'll start seeing life from a different lens, as if we do when we wear glasses. Then you can start seeing the different things from different perspectives, because truth be told, life has been developing your purpose the entire time. I didn't see the God-given ability to talk and to have this speech and to present without preparation if I needed to, because I was so focused on something else. I played football for like 17 or 18 years, and I was made to be a football player, and I was pretty good at it. Wasn't the tallest dude in the world. I'm kind of short, but I was good at this thing, and I loved it. I put everything I had in it. Me and some of the guys I know, my brothers that I met, my real brother on earth, like we put everything into this. We woke up at 6 a.m. and we complained all the time we walked. We was up in Ohio playing college ball. It was cold, all this ice. We complained a little bit, but we knew the end goal, the potential, not even the guarantee. The potential at the end was great and it was worth the sacrifice. So you may not see the potential. You may not see the light at the end of the tunnel just yet. But I promise you, if you live this life, if you strive for greatness that's already in you, it'll be absolutely worth it now and eternally. The danger about discovering purpose, the danger about this whole thing here is that if you do tap into it and then forget the foundation and the grounding that you should have that God says, because he tells us, what does it profit a man or a woman to gain the whole world and lose their soul? So imagine getting everything you think your heart wanted, but it ended as God says, man, you missed the mark. So it's really not about stuff. Like, what is success through this whole process we're trying to go through? What truly is success? Is it money? Is it materialistic things? It's not. See, the success, as we talk about the product, when it's used the way it was invented to be used, then that product is successful. Because if it starts to malfunction, some companies put out a recall, right? They send it back to the manufacturer. Or when it has no more value, people throw it away. That's why it's important for a human being to always realize they have value, because you don't need to be trying to throw yourself away, nor should anyone else. And it's time to stop being abnormally used and to actually function fully into the way that you were designed to be used, because then your life on planet is extended because you're doing what you were made to do. Hence, recalls happen when a product is failing. How many people do we know that left here young and we say, man, they left too early? My question is, for some of those situations is, were they just going to totally refuse to operate within the realms or the purpose that God made them? See, I keep mentioning God because we're here. None of us willed ourselves to be here. This outside cause of this causation that everybody talks about caused us to be here. And we have a purpose deeper than what we realize. You have an assignment that is so connected to other people's assignment as a beautiful puzzle. If we sit still and endure the growth process, the pain, the uncomfortable situations, and stop trying to get out of them so bad, but to grow through them, you will truly become who God made you to be. Why is it so important about purpose? I want to share a story. So there was this owner of this company. He had some investments he wanted to give. So he gave this one person like $500,000. He gave another one $200,000, and he gave another one $100,000. So the person who had the $500,000, he figured things out and he flipped it. He made pretty much $500,000 more. He doubled it. He had now $1 million, right? Then the person that the owner gave the $200,000 to doubled that as well. So now he got $400K. So now the person that had the $100,000 like, man, this investor, I don't want to blow this money because this must be a hard person. He got this money. He worked for it. He does investments and he gets returns on his investments. I don't want to blow it. So I'm just going to hold on to it. So when he shows back up, I'll give it back to him. So the investor comes back and he says, hey, it's time to collect. Let me know what you did. Talk to me about your progress. So the one that had 500 initially, like, yeah, man, I doubled this thing. So now I got $1 million. He told him, well done, man. You did great. Now the person that had 2 said, I doubled as well. I got $400K. Man, that's awesome. You did great. Great job. He goes to the one that had $100,000. Now y'all a $100,000 investment. Imagine what that could do for you right now. If somebody gave you $100K, what could you do? Right? So this person didn't do anything. They didn't even put it in the bank, a high yield savings account, but he returned it to the master. He didn't even steal it. Listen to this. He returned it to the investor. Here's your $100K back. I didn't want to blow it, so I didn't try anything. You know what he was told? You wicked person. Now, this is a story from the Bible, not an investor, but it says the master who gave his servants these different talents that were even higher in value than what I just proposed. But he got mad at the person with the one because they didn't even try. You were given a talent, skill, gift, or ability, and it is your obligation, your responsibility to respond to life with your abilities, right? To try, to maximize what's in you, what has been given. Now, you got some really talented people out there who has a load of gifts and they can pick and choose. Then you have some of us who feel like we got one or two things, but guess what? Within those one or two things, you take it and run. You try. Because you don't want to live this whole life to live and to die and have never tried and to never have given your whole self to becoming you. God says in the Genesis, he said, let us make man in our image, right? Let them have dominion on planet Earth. Let them become, let them be fruitful. Let them become what I have made them to become. Let them dominate. Let them have dominion. He put us in this position to do great things. But even then, we squandered it. Even then, Adam and Eve bought into another person's idea and gave up the title to the land. And then hence Jesus came back and got that back for us and put us in position, gave us an opportunity to be repositioned back into our purpose. Still at discovery. Why does discovery take so long? Is the question I have. Right? For many people. Why does the discovery of a gift take so long? Because it has to actually matter to you one day. You won't discover something that you don't care about. Right? People call it law of attraction, different things like that. If you don't want to know, it says this in the Bible a lot of times, people are like lost because they don't even want to know the truth. But with purpose, if it's not on your radar, then it's not on your radar. So sometimes it takes someone a whole lifetime because we jump into this job, we jump into college and careers, and maybe it's something we're good at, but it's not what we're called to do, and we do it, and we do it. And then at the end of this 20 and 30 year mark, many of y'all that may be at that stage now, you're like, dang, what was that all about? I gave a whole segment of my life to something that I was good at or, I can do because I had to take care of my family, but I felt empty the whole time. So now you start wondering about life. That's the catch, even for the younger generation. What I love about the younger generation is that they're not loyal to any job because they feel like people can't pay them enough to do what they do. Even if it's a just low-end job, man, you can't pay me enough. I love that about them, right? I love my oldest child, my oldest seed, but he wants to skip the process. So even though you understand that the world won't really understand your value, especially these 9-to-5s, many of them, you got to go through the process. Now, here's a little key, and those of you who have subscribed to our website and to our YouTube, you'll get this worksheet later. It's about an inventory of your gifts, skills, and abilities, right? It's a worksheet that you can complete by yourself, or you can connect with me to help you complete it. But to do an inventory on your skills, gifts, and abilities is to write down every single thing that you know that you're good at. And it doesn't matter how big or small. If you can organize the heck out of something, that's great, because some people don't like to organize. If you're administratively sound, that's great, because some people don't like that. If you can draw, if you can paint, whatever your skills, gifts, and abilities are, we're going to do an inventory of that. You'll get a sheet back from that. But you definitely have to subscribe to our website, istaymad.com. You get you a free worksheet after this and hit the registration for this. Even though you're going now, maybe you just stumbled upon us on YouTube, you can still get access to these things. Now, how does that help? Because once you can see your inventory of your gifts, your features, if we keep to this product talk, then you can see your roles, your functions. Even if you on another tab, put down all the jobs that you may have had up to this point, no matter what they are and what your roles were there, I bet that you had a lot of skills, gifts, and abilities that automatically solved many of those aspects of job duties. And even if you think about the problems on this planet or the problems in your community, if you can identify one of those problems and you have naturally a skill, gift, and ability to solve that, you might have identified a business. I truly believe that every human being has the potential to be a walking LLC. Why do I say that? So the two companies I have, one of them is I Stay Mad LLC. The other one is Activate You. They are certain aspects of my character and my personality. I say, man, I explained it. I look angry all the time. Man. I don't know if that's gonna change. And I don't do it cliche, but my kids sometimes like, Daddy, what you mad about now? I'm like, I stay mad. That's me. Right? But it's motivated and determined. I'm focused. I want, man, I'll be mad sometimes too, so I can't lie. I just be angry. But I want to do the things on earth that I was called to do. And if I'm not doing it, I get a little angry. And activate you. Get active, stay active, live active. That is an aspect of what I have been trying to promote and do personal training, life development, all these things, because I want to see the whole person active, mind, body, and soul, right? That's me. So I got two companies that reflect exactly what's on the inside of me, what I was made to do. This is how I feel like my flight is no different than a bird was made to fly. They don't move in life just walking. The ones that were made to fly, they won't get where they're supposed to go at the rate they're supposed to get there if they walk. They have to spread their wings and fly. And so do you. But see, your wings, your flight is your purpose. And the discovery here again is absolutely imperative that you spend some intentional quiet time to tap into what you were purposed and made to do. Intentional. Take the headphones off. Turn the TV off. Turn off the social media. Not this one right now. Keep me going right now. But turn these things off so you can have some intentional quiet time to start letting the thoughts go. See what God will tell you. What has he already been telling you, but maybe you couldn't hear it because the music was going, because the TV show was going, because all the potential outside distractors are causing so much internal turmoil, or not letting you even understand your internal turmoil to even hear it. Because remember, a pathway to purpose is pain, it's frustration, it's turmoil. And a lot of it, people don't realize it's actually caused by God. So there was a passage we read the other day, I think it was 2 Chronicles. It was about a nation going through war and the city fighting, going through all this fighting, right? And it said, God is the one who caused it. But those who hope in the Lord will prevail. They will have strength. He causes these things sometimes. He causes them. He lets them happen. And why? Because here again, like we said earlier, will you intentionally put yourself in an uncomfortable position for growth? Personal development. Will you intentionally pick the hardest task to try to see how well you do? And if you don't do it that well the first time, will you do it again? Because see, that's where we're at now. Since God, the greatest coach, the greatest teacher, knows that sometimes we won't put ourselves in these positions all the time, he lets them happen to us. Like I remember the days when we played ball, we do our conditioning, sometimes before practice, sometimes after. And they say, oh, we got like 15 intervals or 20 intervals, and we knock them all out, right? And then coach be like, overtime. You're like, overtime? We just did 20 intervals. We just ran 21 100s, right? But what was the overtime for? The overtime is for the times that you need to be able to have the ability to respond when life throws that extra at you. Or in the game when now the regular time has expired and you have to still have enough energy to play more and longer than what you had expected and than what the time said initially. And the coach knows that. Or the coach knows that we got this opponent that we got coming up that y'all need to be a little better conditioned than what you were last week. So I'm going to cause extra training that is going to be hurtful to get you to where you need to be for the game that's on its way. All that now transitions us, because here again, if we started to understand our purpose, we talked about an inventory of gifting. We talk about how the pains in life is the pathway to purpose. So let's say we start to get an idea of what our purpose is. Let's say, oh, I got a good feeling what our purpose is, and here's one of the last seeds I want to drop for you as far as purpose. I want you to think about something that you have done. If you're already there, something that you have done that you lose track of time, that you get involved into it and you just doing it, and before you know it, 8 hours or the whole day is going, you're like, dang, where did the time go? Or what is that thing that you would do absolutely free if money was a non-issue, but you feel almost compelled to do this thing that you feel like I have to keep doing this because this brings me a certain level of joy doing it. And usually all of our purpose some type of way serves the planet and the people on the planet. I want to talk about now the development process, and I want to talk about a seed analogy. So let's just take, for example, we knowingly bought an apple seed. Now that seed, if we place it on the counter in our kitchen, is dead. If it never gets planted in the right environment and some soil, it never lives. But it has all the potential on the inside. See, the one seed that came from an apple, which an apple may have like 5 to 10 seeds inside that one apple. But say this one seed has the potential of many trees or apples. Or the one apple has the potential of many trees, but that one seed has the potential of many apples. So let's say we now find good soil, we plant it there, we actually bury it, because the burial looks just like being planted. You uncover some dirt, you get it deep enough, and now you plant or bury it in a specific area. Now, why do I say burial and planting? Because what we don't realize in life sometimes when you start to the discovery of your gift, like literally once the idea shows up, do you understand that chaos comes next? Do you understand that dark times comes next? So don't get so discouraged that you get an idea. Now life, by God's causation, decides to test the authenticity of your dream. My son asked me yesterday, my youngest seed, we went to go work out. He's like, Dad, good job, man. You trying to be consistent. It's actually a little harder than what it used to be when I played ball. I'm older now, 44 years old. So it's a lot more difficult, right? So we went out to the field and he said, well, why are you doing that now? And when you see people who are really out of shape, how do you feel? He had me all these different questions. And I started explaining to him that I'm getting tested for my own companies to test the authenticity of my own dream. So my workouts are more challenging. I have aspects of life on and off the job that are more challenging to see, will I stay motivated and determined? To see, will I stay, activated, get active, stay active, live active. So even through this, y'all, I'm still going through different aspects of development, even though I'm in deployment. See, the development stage never stops. The information gathering and collecting should never stop, right? The educating yourself in the area that you know your purpose to do, and some other areas that you might just be curious about. But the information collecting or the development process should never stop. So now, even as that seed gets planted, it's in a dark area, a dirty area, and probably full of pressure all around it. So have you felt that? Have you felt darkness, isolation? Have you felt pressure? Have you felt isolated? Right? And if you have, you just might be in a good spot. Because that's the spot that now the seed, given the owner of the land, continues to take care of it. But you're in a good environment. You're in some good soil. Now, here's the question. How do you think what's on the inside of the seed breaks out? Is it solely because of the outside factors and distractions or things? Or is it because the internal aspect of the seed begins to grow and now it reaches a capacity that breaks the shell? See, the Bible says to live is to die and to die is to gain. Like we have old things that we do, old habits, traits, behaviors that have to expire so we can truly live. Like your capacity has to grow and grow so much that you don't do what you used to do anymore. Action items, it guarantees that whatever you put your hands to, remember, intentional fingerprints, whatever you put your hands to, you will be prosperous or successful. It says, don't walk in the way of the wicked, don't stand with sinners, and don't sit at a table with mockers. Right? It said that it gives a beautiful description of what a blessed person looks like. Blessed is the man who does not walk with wicked, who doesn't stand with sinners, and don't sit with mockers. Here's the progression. There was movement in the walking, although with the wrong people. And then you stop the movement because you're still with the wrong people. And then now you done sat down and all movement is totally ceased because you're still with the wrong people. Then it goes on to say, do these two things and your life will now take a turn. Delight on God's law day and night and love his word. So that means love his word, pretty much do his word, read it, meditate on it day and night. Those two things, meditate on it and love it. And it says, you, this person now, listen to this, will become like a tree planted next to a river or a stream. Now, why is that so important? What is water to plant life? It's life. It's the very thing, in addition to the sun, that keeps giving it the opportunity to sustain all aspects of every season. Because the rest of the passage says, in season and pretty much out, its plants, its leaves, will never wither. So it would never look like it's having a bad time, no matter what the surroundings look. So even when an economic crisis shows up or global pandemics show up, your life will look unaffected because of where you're planted. Then it says, whatever this person does, they will prosper. How is that not life and business principles? And that's in the Bible. 5 action items, 3 things not to do, 2 things to do it, and explains how you will literally stand in the face of all opposition and still look unaffected. And that is so significant in the development process as we talk about discovering purpose, as we talk about developing purpose. Like we try and here with everything we can is to help you discover you, develop you, deploy you. This is about you. This is all about you getting to the next level and to the best version of yourself, because you were put in position. And even now, listening to this and what's going to come in your life later, it is all geared to grow you and to put you in the perfect position to live the fulfilled life. So here again, do you really want what you say you want? Because if you do, life will go ahead and do a checks and balances and challenge it for you. So once your idea shows up, it's going to get tested. It's going to get tested. It has to go through all those tests to make sure, no different than a product in a manufacturing, going through research and development and all the tests before it hits the shelf, it has to get tested to make sure it's going to do what it was made to do. So developing you is so important, but you don't have to do it by yourself. There's so many aspects, so much information out there. We're here to help guide you through this. And here again, we'll have some things at the end and we'll talk about to help you even progress through this. Some people just need somebody to coach them from a distance. Some people may need more of a one-on-one. Listen, we're here to do all that for you. But you got to have a buy-in. You got to have a dog in the fight. As we think about the football culture that, I'm just so used to, the Purpose Playbook, we think about the coaches here again, putting you in situations that is meant to grow. We used to have these 6 a.m.s, y'all. Oh, I really couldn't stand 6 a.m.s because we would have this part of the 6 a.m. practice where they had these 2 big rubber bands and they were strapped to the ground. They would put them on our shoulders and we would do squats until we couldn't squat anymore. And that's just not the end. I'm literally talking about when you would fall over because your legs were shaking and would give out, they would pick you up and tell you to keep going. Y'all, I'm talking about dry mouth people. We over there by the garbage cans. We're done. We couldn't even walk back to the dorms. We literally laid in the locker room half the time for 30 minutes to an hour because we couldn't walk because of the pressure, because of the engagement, the level of performance that we wanted, and the coaches knew that we needed. And y'all, we didn't like it. I promise you. Youngstown State University, where we went to college at, you showed me one person who used to love that exercise. I ain't gonna say what I give him. I give him a free t-shirt. But no one liked it because we were all falling out. And the coaches seemed to know who was faking it, right? Like some guys that act like their legs already gave out, they will fall out. And it's like the coach knew, nah, you're faking. Keep going. Because some people will fake it because they learned. Now, tell me how many people learn this in life. They learn ways to try to cheat it. But life is so amazing that God put things in place so perfectly that we can't get out of this thing even jokingly alive. You can't get to the transition without literally expiring down here. And you can't get to your next level without old habits, old ways, old way of thinking, old mentality. That stuff has to expire. Because how can you really even maintain where you're going with the same brain from where you were? Scriptures all through the Bible. God says, I give you the power to create wealth. I bring wealth and prosperity without no sorrow. Y'all, this life that we're supposed to be living with our King is supposed to look different. And I understand it gets a bad rap because it seems like many people who proclaim Christianity, it seems like we just give such a bad example. And I apologize because I know I've done it over the course of my time. But if we understood the principles, if we understood the policy, the procedures, and the precepts of what to do and put them in play, no different than we did at practice, we started to understand the gameplay. And then our eyes were open to where, as a cornerback, when I played, I had to call certain things that would affect my players, like my linebackers. There was this play that wide receivers would go in motion, and the play would start, and they would run full speed and hit the linebacker blind-side, called a crack block, right? And I was supposed to say, watch the crack, right? And if I never open my mouth to talk to let the person next to me know what's coming to them, it will mess them up and the whole play and the team. Look at the importance of me paying attention on that aspect of the field, even though I'm not the one getting hit. But also that linebacker, now he got hit one time, maybe because my mess up, I bet his eyes are looking now. Now, the danger for this is that might cause, here again, this is life. Once you've been hit once, it may cause you to hesitate. You can't afford to hesitate. Because one false step, even in the game of football, can cause a touchdown, can cause a first down, right, to give one up. And if we take too many false steps or we hesitate too much in life, remember the progression that I just explained from Psalms, from the walking, for the standing to the sitting. That happens because life hits us, or we might be walking with the wrong people. Have you ever shared your idea with the wrong person and they take all the steam out of it? Tell me, I know you probably experienced that before. That doesn't feel good. And it makes you not want to share the ideas with certain people, right? And that's right. You're not supposed to share with everybody. But it's not supposed to take the steam out. It's not supposed to slow your walk down. It's not supposed to slow your grind down. You're still supposed to go with this thing that you feel inside because God sent you here with this thing that should be compelling you and pushing you. It's almost like an obsession to do the thing that you were made to do. And even if you don't know it just yet, trust me, you'll get there. Now, we're still with the seed because the development process, y'all, I promise you, it feels like it can be longer even than that discovery process. Why? Because you want it to happen. It may not be long, like period of time and hours, but since you want it to happen, you're like, let's go already. I should be there already. It should be happening already, right? But the development process still has to happen. So here again, let's get back to that apple seed that's finally planted. And now the seed has broken the shell and it starts to grow. But here's my question for you as well. And if you're on YouTube, go ahead and chime in, put some answers. Does the seed, does it start to grow up first or down? Think about it. Where does the progression start? So it just broke the shell and now the growth is visible if you had a camera down there and you're watching it. But the growth is visible, and that's interesting. I just said that. So a lot of times people don't even see your development process because you're still planted, right? You got an idea of your gift. You know what you're good at. You know what you're called to do, right? But you're still developing. So this is the time frame where no one really sees what you're doing. No one knows that you're doing it. No one knows that you're good at it, right? Because you're still in the dark. I see people on YouTube saying, yes, it grows down first. Why? I love the interaction, but why does it grow down first versus up to get to the soil for the exposure? Because I want you to really think about and process the dangers of being exposed to the environment or your surroundings or the people or the venues or the community that you're supposed to be serving. Think about a premature exposure. It's really no different than a premature baby. There are dangers that life may not be sustained because it came out too early. It brings me to another story. We do this thing called Juneteenth. We had people in the backyard, had a lot of folk over. We got games, bounce houses. So people were eating watermelon over there by the fire pit. Now, this was like last year, right? So Juneteenth, of course, is in June. I'm cutting the grass here. Now, I usually leave the fire pit alone. It's so hot, we don't mess with it in the summertime. But when August hit, I said, let me go and get that area manicured. I go to that area, moving some of the chairs out of the way, and there's some growth there. I should have paid more attention to it, but there was some growth there, right? So I moved this chair. I'm trying to move it, and I noticed there's this vine wrapped around. I'm like, what is this? Yo, that's how bad the area was, right? I say how bad, but it's really how good. I messed this up. This is a story about premature exposure. This is a story about somebody stumbling upon something great too early and still immature and don't know how to handle it. This is my story, my whole life story, really. So I go and I'm pulling and tugging the chair and I hear this thud, boom. So I look, a little nervous because I don't like wildlife, making sure it wasn't nothing else. But it was a watermelon. It was a watermelon growing in my backyard. And then my first comment was, look, y'all, I was growing a watermelon, and I instantly heard God say, and I really felt him say, you weren't growing nothing because you didn't even know it was over here. You had nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. But a seed must have fell in a good area and was left alone long enough for the development stages. And it started to grow and progress. But then this silly behind person shows up a little too early in its growth, yanked it off the vine, went upstairs and showed everybody, and I instantly killed it. The growth stopped. Instantly. So premature growth or exposure can be the end of something amazing. You have to go through the development process. You may have to do things free for people for a while as you develop. You may have to do them by yourself time and time again. You may have to speak to people. Listen, I'm talking to myself that you may have to speak to crowds that are not the size that you want. But I don't care. I'm talking to as if I'm talking to a billion people, because you know what? You need to get this, because if you can get this and go out and do what you're called to do, then I've done my part. But you have to go down to get the foundation first before you grow up. It has to. The roots got to get in the ground so strong, because as the seed breaks through the earth and gets the exposure that it desperately needs, because it needs the sunlight to continue to grow, and we need the light to continue to grow. We need the exposure to continue to grow. There's a level of influence that God wants to get you and I to affect the planet. So now when we speak, people will hear, and we can keep showing people not us, but him. Because it's all about him. He made it. This is his planet, his universe, his everything. He gets to do what he wants to do, even when we disagree. And trust me, I disagreed a lot. I tried to butt my head against the wall a lot. But the growth process down to get the plant, the apple tree, as we've been talking about, as far as that seed, to where it can handle now the new exposure to the new environment. And I'm still talking about your gift. I'm still talking about your purpose. Because when it breaks through the grass, when it breaks through the dirt, and now it has to deal with the elements, the wind, the rain, the snow, the heat. It has to be to deal with that. It has to be to deal with people maybe walking over it and trampling over it, or animals trying to come to it. It has to be to deal with that. And if it came out too early, it can be pulled up real easy, or it can be damaged and destroyed before it even was exposed to the world, before it even could produce its fruit. Producing your fruit over and over and over again is what God intended for us to do. So what fruit are you? We've been talking about features and cell phones. What is your gift? That's when I say fruit. What are you here for? What do you think about all the time? What do you wake up wishing you can do? It is not just about free time, because free time is earned by tapping into your tasks, skills, and your abilities, skills and abilities. Because then you can control your time. When you don't have to give it to somebody, think about it. An 8-hour workday really is not 8 hours, because you got to get up in the morning, you got to drive to the place, and then you got to get there, then do the 8 hours, and then you got to drive home. That's almost 12 hours of your day. That if you spend more time with God and remove the distractions and let the manufacturer, let the great creator who designed you, who put you here on planet Earth to tell you what you were here to do, and get into the reading the material and the aspects that he put in place to help you realize what you're here to do, then you have now redeemed your time. There is work for you to do. See, God will do what he does because he decides to do what he does. Whether we act right or not, I'm not saying go act crazy, y'all. But whether we act right or not, he already has plans in place. But why wouldn't we want to do what's right to even feel good through the process? So a lot of people, once that gift is discovered, to include myself, we're ready to go, take off running, but the development process is still there. So this tree is still growing. And guess what? Even after it gets exposed to the sunlight, there is still time for it to grow and develop. Now let's just fast forward. It grows. It survived the test of time. And now we can actually see it's an apple tree because we got fruits coming off of it, right? And the farmer, the person who owns the land, didn't do like LeVar did to the watermelon and pull it off the vine and cause life to end, but it lets it keep growing. And now when we get closer to deployment, right, this tree is producing apples. Now, here's a question for you, those who are on here now and who will watch this later. Does the apple tree benefit from its own apples? Yes or no? And if you can even answer why, if you got the fast thumbs to type, or if you're on your computer, go ahead and throw it in there. But does it experience its own fruit? Does it benefit from it? Because see, my answer for you is it does, in a different way than you understand it to be, or maybe that you do understand it to be. Because as long as I continue to produce fruit as an apple tree and serve those who are close enough around me to gain access to my fruit, that I keep feeding them, then the person who owns the land and or me will continue to take care of me because I'm taking care of them. You get it now? See, God, like a great investor, when he starts to see a return on his investment, he starts to see, oh, you're producing fruit, you're serving the world, you're serving people on my behalf, I got to keep taking care of you. I'm going to keep you like the tree planted next to the river, that you have everything you need and want to make sure you can keep producing the very thing that I sent you here to earth to produce. So let's talk about that investment, because now we're talking about deployment. So imagine a property investor comes and he says, or she says, hey, I want to invest some property in Atlanta. I want you to go buy some property on this area, right? They give you $10 million. Go to work. Now you come out to somewhere in the outskirts of Atlanta. Let's say you go down to like Henry County somewhere and you buy a property there and they find out like, whoa. That's not what we discussed. I gave you an investment to do something in an area that I told you to do. But you went and did something different. What do you think that investor is going to do? Let them just keep doing what they're doing, or pull back resources? Right? Not necessarily take the full gift, but I'm not going to fund anything that's not what I discussed. So if you've been in business plans, or you've been in work, or you've been doing some different ventures, and you feel like you continually butt your head against it, or something may be going wrong, just evaluate and think about, for one, did you ever even go to God and say, Lord, can we do this? Or secondly, is this within the area of my gifting? And not to say you can't have more than one hustle. You may have multiple streams of income, and that's actually a good idea. But is this what I was made to do? Because maybe I need to reevaluate or pivot how I'm doing it. So my brother asked me years ago, I remember this, with both my companies, we got this workout vest that we invented. We put your phone aside, you go work out and whatnot, you can touch the screen and all that. So, I was sewing on that, me and Mama Green, we had pretty much a whole household team doing different aspects of the work. And then we got the shirts that we make. And then I was doing personal training with some athletes. And then I do the talk, and I love to talk. So he said, hey, if you can only do one thing for the rest of your life, only one thing, you had to cut everything out, what would it be? And I love football, I love training, but I wouldn't want to do the training every day. And I don't like sewing, truth be told, but I know how to sew, so I don't want to sew shields all the time either. And I like, I ain't going to say I like doing apparel, but I do it. It's nice to walk around and see people with your brand's cool. I don't want to do none of that. I want to talk. I want to run my mouth till somebody gets it and they have a light bulb moment and I see their life change. That does something to me. And it's not that I just want to talk about everything. I love talking about God, His kingdom, and our purpose within that relationship. I love talking about those things. And I can talk all day long with ideas that flood my brain like crazy. And if I can only do one thing for the rest of my life, it's this. It's to help the next human being see life a different way, and how life has been really prepping them through God's causing it to get you ready for real living. To get you ready not only for real living, but to be so beneficial to this planet, so beneficial to the farmer and the environment, that it keeps taking care of you because you keep producing the fruit that He put inside. And that's how deployment stays and deployment starts, from the right development. So what's yours? We've been talking for close to 50 minutes now. What's yours? What do you have in the back of your mind that, now, even from childhood, this is important, that even from childhood you were thinking about doing? Or what if you continue to put off, but it keeps coming back to your mind that you want to do? What do you feel compelled to do? And if you don't know, that's okay. But if you're frustrated because you want to know, then that's even better. You're in a perfect spot. If you have frustration in life right now because you want to make sure you're doing something that's meaningful, you're in a perfect spot. And it's time for intentional fingerprints, intentional quiet time, intentional reading. So much material out there to help you out with that. So much. So many people. But you got to now be intentional about how you maneuver, about how you spend your time. You know, people spend money sometimes wisely, sometimes not, but you can always make more money. When's the last time you've seen somebody make more time? So now, how we choose to spend our time should be very selective, because that is a limited commodity. So I got something I want to talk to you about. That worksheet that I said, the inventory of your skills, gifts, and abilities. You have to subscribe to us through our website. That's the only way you'll get access to that being sent automatically. So go to istaymad.com. That is a free resource that will come to you. It's going to come pretty much in a few days. But that worksheet really could be a great start. Now, you might be able to fill it out yourself, but if you want to connect and to help, fill that out, listen, it'll take maybe 30 minutes. We have a session that we call, here again, hence the name, the Purpose Playbook. We call this mini camp. See, it's a progression to the stages of maybe the football season in an athlete's life. You got the mini camp, then you got the preseason, then you have the regular season. See, the off season really is not off season for those who want to be elite, because they always training. And you know what those guys hire? Right? A personal trainer, a coach, to get them to do the work in the dark that a lot of people don't see, even though social media, now they post it all over the place. But they hire somebody to help them even through that aspect. So when they get into the mini camp, right, those OTAs, some of those official training days, they're ready, not to get cut, but to make the team and keep their career going. See, the goal for you as a human being is to keep your purpose, keep your life going, to keep success going, success that comes from God, because then you don't have to maintain it. Excuse me. Because God maintains it as long as you do what he told you to do. And even sometimes you still be disobedient, he still bless you. Here again, don't go out there cutting up. Do what he said to do. But we got this thing called minicamp, 30-minute session, usually $100. We're going to do $50 only for that. If you need help, fill out that worksheet. We'll get you on the schedule. We get that worksheet filled out. We talk about what your skills, gifts, and abilities are. We do the whole inventory to help you see this thing clearer, so you can actually move forward and do what you were made to do on this planet. That's just stage one. We have other things we'll be offering. You'll see some emails coming up to where we call it the preseason. This will be an hour and 30-minute session where we get more into depth about you and you only, about your life, about how you are, where you are now, and what you're trying to do, and then start getting a map and an outline for that. We call that the preseason. And then we got the regular season, which would be 6 sessions over 120 days that you can spend time with me. We talk, we get into, we get resources, reading materials, action items. We are going to make sure that you do the greatest pivot in your life that you have the opportunity to do. So those things will be coming to your email. So check them out. I wanted to just listen. I'm excited about what's going on, not only in my life, but yours. For those who are listening right now live, I appreciate you. I see a lot of comments down there. I got my glasses on, but I can't see that far. But listen, and those who are watching this later for replay, think about this. Do the intentional time. See, the discovery, the development, and the deployment is so important. The purpose in your life has to be revealed, because God put you here to do it. We can't go through this life and do nothing and try nothing, because even if we aren't bad people, quote unquote, as the world says was bad, even though we can never meet the standard that God set, which is why we need Savior, Jesus Christ. We can never meet his standard. But even if you're a good person, as people say, right, if you don't do what you were sent here to do, it's no different than the parable of the talents. The master that gave the people the talents, the one that he chose to do nothing with. The master called him, "You wicked and lazy servant." And he said, "Toss him out and take what he had, that one talent, and give it to the one who made 10. You don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen. So we got to give the best attempt at this thing to truly live a full and filled life because we're given the opportunity to, and the King of all kings has put us in a position to do a great thing. So check us out. Go to istaymad.com. You can subscribe there. Please like, subscribe, and share this YouTube channel for us so we can get this word out to more people. Listen, it is about your purpose. It's about your gift. It's about life in the kingdom. The King put you here for a reason. You're just not here to bounce your head off the wall. You're here to do something amazing that people need to see, and it has to go through this process for the right exposure. So istaymad.com. Check us out from there. Click on the subscription and register. Like, share this page for us. Help us out as we move forward. And here again, we'll be doing these. You'll be seeing replays for this, and you'll see throughout the week, even on our Instagram, I Stay Mad LLC. You check us out there. If you're on Facebook, same thing, I Stay Mad. We do weekly inspirations. We just come out there some days. You'll see some videos longer than others, but it's all about inspiring you. So here again, we're here to help you discover you, develop you, and deploy you into your purpose that God put you here on life. Thank you for joining. Check the website out, and we'll see you later.